Hey friends, welcome back to Behind the Mic podcast as we walk through Passion Week. Let me ask you, what happens when Jesus' truth gets uncomfortable? Because Tuesday of Passion Week, Jesus walks right into the temple and he doesn't hold back. He challenges the religious leaders, he confronts their hypocrisy, and he calls out sin with boldness. And if we're honest, sometimes his truth challenges us too, right? So let's dig into what happened and why it matters for us. Tuesday is the longest day of teaching during Passion Week, and it's intense. Jesus returns to the temple, and the religious leaders, the chief priests, scribes, and the elders all confront him. And Mark 11:28 records this by saying, "By what authority do you do these things, and who gave you this authority?" They were basically asking him, "Who do you think you are, Jesus?" They didn't like that he cleansed the temple the day before, and they didn't like that he was threatening their power. But Jesus doesn't back down. First of all, he tells parables that expose their hypocrisy, like the parable of the tenants in Matthew 21:33 through 46. Then he answers trap questions meant to get him arrested, like, should we pay taxes to Caesar? That's from Matthew 22:15 to 22. And then finally, he warns them and the crowds about false religion and empty appearances. The famous "Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees" statements from chapter 23 in Matthew. By the end of the day, these leaders are furious, but Jesus is laser focused on truth and calling people to real faith. Here's what makes this moment so powerful. The religious leaders, they looked perfect on the outside. They knew the scriptures. They followed all the rules, and they appeared righteous. But Jesus saw past that. He saw into their hearts, which were full of pride and greed and selfishness. Listen to what he says in Matthew 23, verses 27 and 28. It says, "Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you are like whitewashed tombs, which outwardly appear beautiful, but within are full of dead people's bones and all uncleanliness. So you also outwardly appear righteous to others, but you are full of hypocrisy and lawlessness." Man, that's strong language, but Jesus wasn't being harsh to be mean. He was calling for them to repent. He wanted hearts, not just religion. Now, here's where this hits home for us. It's easy to look good on the outside, go to church, say all the right things, do all the good deeds. But what's happening in our hearts? Are we following Jesus because we love him? Or is it just to look good to others? Are we honest about our struggles? Or are we hiding behind a mask of perfection? I think that's part of the problem in our society today is Christians get fingers pointed at them and we know we're not perfect. And yet we try to keep up appearances, right? Well, Jesus isn't impressed with appearances. He wants a real relationship. Psalm 51:17 says, "The sacrifices of God are a broken spirit, a broken and contrite heart. O God, you will not despise." Sometimes, like the religious leaders, we don't want to be challenged. But Jesus challenges us because he loves us. And he wants to set us free from fake religion. So here's my question to you. What would Jesus say if he walked into the temple of your life today? Would he find a heart fully surrendered? Or would he call out some whitewashed tombs, areas that look good on the outside but are empty on the inside? The good news is Jesus confronts to redeem. He doesn't expose our sin to shame us, but he calls us to something better. Real life, real freedom, real faith. And thanks for walking through this with me on this powerful day of Passion Week. Tomorrow, we'll look at what happened on Wednesday, a quieter day, but one filled with deep significance as the plot to betray Jesus begins. Until then, let Jesus' truth challenge and change you because he loves you too much to leave you as you are. If this encouraged you or challenged you, like, subscribe, and share. And if you're realizing you need a real relationship with Jesus, not just religion, message me. I'd love to talk about what that looks like. Take care and God bless.